Hi, I'm Carolyn Zhang,
I'm Asrat.
I'm Alexa Rybicki.
and we created a 2-in-1 temperature and fan device.
In this setup, we could see the temperature of the person and then check if it's fever or no fever, and then the fan will turn on. So if the temperature is above the cutoff temperature, it will point to the servometer, it would point to fever, and then the fan would turn on. If it's below the cutoff temperature, it would turn to no fever and the fan wouldn't turn on. So right now it's below temperature. And then now if we do this,
Alright, so our circuit kind of combines the circuits from Project 5 and Project 9. Instead, we used a temperature sensor as our analog input. We also included 2 capacitors. Here we have our transistor as well as our diode, which prevents any back voltage from the motor coming back into the circuit. Here we have our our battery, which is used to power our motor. Right here we have our DC motor, which acts as our fan in our circuit. And then here we have our servo motor, which is able to turn 180 degrees and can point to whether or not the user has a fever.
This is the code for our device. First, we import the servo library and define our object. Next, we define variables and the input and output ports that our sensors and motors are connected to. Here, we set the cutoff temperature as 23 degrees Celsius, but in actuality, this will be set to 37.5 degrees Celsius, or whatever temperature you want to sense whether the patient has a fever or not. Next, we have our serial monitor read the value from the temperature sensor, convert it into volts and into degrees Celsius, and then print all of this information. And then lastly, we have an if-else statement. So if the temperature from the temperature sensor is greater than the cutoff temperature, then the servo will point to 179 degrees, which will point to a sign that says fever, and the motor will turn on. If the temperature from the temperature sensor is equal or less than the cutoff temperature, then the servo will point to a sign that says no fever and the motor will not turn on.